Welcome to Angel Angela, and today we're going to be talking about the new supply, the narcissist new supply, the person that you definitely should not envy, you shouldn't be jealous of, you shouldn't wonder why them and why not you, and primarily that's because the narcissist doesn't feel love and they don't care about anyone. And the more you do research, it's very important for you to know that these people, they don't love anyone. And I actually came across a new book that was written by Holly, one of the playmates at the Playboy Mansion where Hugh Hefner reside. And the book, I think it's called something like Falling Down the Rabbit Hole or something like that. But she basically talks about her experience at the Playboy Mansion and the mental abuse that she went through. And I actually, the first thing that I actually saw was Kendra. Yes, Kendra. It was three of the girls on the show. They had this show. I forgot the name of it. But Kendra, I saw an interview with her and she was speaking on Holly's book. And she was saying that Holly just, she's doing it, for the fame and stuff like that. That she should be grateful to Hugh Hefner for everything that, he's done for her and all these things. And as she was talking, I remember her going through a situation some years ago where everyone was on the internet speaking on her husband, that he was sleeping with a man. And that let me know that her perception is really fogged up when it comes to men. She didn't even realize that the person that she married, has other sexual desires, and he probably most likely preyed on her for being a playgirl, And when she was speaking, she just had this look in her eyes, like very narcissistic, and like she was in this competition and this cycle that she can't get out of. That cycle where people are being triangulated, and the narcissist has everyone fighting against each other. That's kind of what I got when I was listening to her interview. And then I told myself, let me look up Holly and her little book. So I looked up her book, and I heard her interview, and a lot of things that she said stood out to me. And that's when I realized, although I always, I never really got into watching their show, or I was never into, the whole Playboy thing. But I always felt like the women that went into these houses, they knew what they were getting themselves into. And it was kind of like, hey, this is what you're doing. You're using your body. You're doing all these things. And you're choosing that lifestyle. And the difference between Kendra and Holly, I realized, was Kendra was more of a girl that came from nothing. I mean, her life was probably going downhill, and according to her, she was very poor, and she just had this really, basically Hef saved her life. And I think that she put herself in a victim role where she feels like Hef was her savior, and he took her out of that environment because she felt like if it wasn't for him pimping her out, basically, it would have been someone from the street. I really feel like that was literally Kendra's mindset. And when Holly spoke up on it, I could see it in her eyes. It was that after being with a narcissist and going through that type of mental abuse, the triangulation and not feeling good enough, feeling like the other person that they're triangulating with you with, like they're better than you. I can see all that pain, but I could see the strength that she went through. I could see how strong she is. I could see how this experience changed her, but I could also see that disappointment in humanity. Like, how can these type of people exist? How did I get myself into this web? I could see all that pain, and that's when I was like, okay, well, let me kind of, fill out her book and see what she's talking about. And she basically talks about how, all the girls at the Playboy Mansion had a curfew time at 9 o'clock where they all had to be in the house. They were allowed to go, they had a special hair salon that basically ran on Hugh Hefner's credit, so they were able to go to the hairstylist and get their hair done whenever they wanted in Beverly Hills. And what else? Yeah, when they went to sleep at 9 o'clock, they all had to wear matching pajamas. Most of them shared rooms, except the main girlfriends. The main girlfriends had their own privacy, and that's why they were different from the other girls. So that's how he was trying. He wasn't just triangulating them in that way. He had so many girlfriends, it was ridiculous. So he's putting everyone against each other because now everybody wants the better room. And she's real, because she's letting you know, hey, when I came in, yeah, a lot of the girls, everyone was here because we wanted to be, on the magazine. We wanted fame, money. But what he did was take all these young girls. You have to understand, Holly was only 21 years old. She was just starting her adult life, and she was still young in her mind, and she thought that she could handle this. Like many of us, we're like, oh, I can't wait till I turn 18. When I turn 18, I'm an adult, I'm grown. And when you start really living life, you realize the world isn't what you thought it was. So I understood her when, she was speaking, on that. So, he basically controlled what they wore. They had an allowance, but she said everything that they, like if they had, if they had to buy skirts or anything, they had to be short enough to where they can see basically their ass cheeks hanging. He didn't like red lipstick, she said, when she came from the salon. He kind of was like, why do you have that on? Red lipstick looks really tacky. But when Kendra came in the house as the new girl, she had a red lipstick, and I guess he complimented her. So that's what that's another thing the narcissist tries to do with the new supply, is that they'll admire them for all the things that they say they hate you for. Yet they really love a lot of these qualities about you, but they'll tell you they don't, just to hurt you, just to hurt your self-esteem, to make you feel like I can just go be with someone else. I really don't need you, but look, I'm keeping you around. It's like they literally treat you like a pet. And when she said that, everything was just adding up to me, and I was like, this man was definitely a narcissist. So I kind of went back to look a little bit into him. And this picture of Barbie Benton, I don't know if you guys heard about her. I think she was like a model. And I mean, maybe more. The picture that I saw with her, she was like on a private jet with Hugh Hefner, and this was in the 1970s. Meanwhile, in the his first wife, and this is the crazy part about it. Holly was with Hugh Hefner literally for 7 years. I feel like that's usually the limit that most people can actually take with a narcissist. I mean, that's when you've seen the ugly of the ugliest. At least you see it early on, but I mean, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And I think once you're 7 years down the line, you're going to see everything. I mean, you're going to see the full blown narcissist, like who they really are. You start to see their fake smiles. You start to see that they're not authentic with their family and friends, that they hate everyone, that they're always in a competition, that they hate themselves and their sickness, that they feel like they need to treat others bad, and in order for them to feel good. And I think that that's when she realized, like, damn, this is like really real. So yeah, usually it's about 7 years. And his first wife, by the way, which I believe he had 2 kids with, they got married in 1949 and they separated in 1959. That's a 10-year gap. This is his first wife. I mean, this is when he was, younger. That was only 10 years. And then right after that, he got married with his second wife in 1989, and he divorced her in 2010. That was 20 years. And if he divorced her in 2010 and Holly moved in the house in 2001 and she moved out in 2008, that means that Holly this whole time wanted to be the wife. He basically was triangulating everyone with each other. He's making Holly the main girl at the house, at the Playboy Mansion. And then most likely he had basically left the Playboy Mansion to go to his wife's home to, go triangulate her and make her feel bad, because he's telling her, hey, this is my job, this is my lifestyle, but I married you. But he's telling Holly, hey, I'm going to leave my wife for you. And Holly's walking around making the other girls, feel like she was superior. And that's what happens with a lot of us. It's that we feel like we are number one. We feel like we are different from the narcissist exes. And we really, really feel like we are the one. Like it's going to be different with us. And the thing about it is, it's not going to be different. And they're not going to be happy with the next supply. They are not happy people. I remember my ex telling me one time, sex doesn't mean anything to me. If you pay attention to this Hugh Hefner guy, he's had so many women in his mansion. He's married different women. He's had some of the most beautiful women, young women, older women at his house, having all type of sexual encounters with them. Holly even said he moved his 9 and 10-year-old son, or 8 and 10-year-old son, into the Playboy Mansion to share rooms with the girls. So he wanted his sons to be just like him. But he wanted to be the one to control everything. Everything is about control with them. It's not about love. They don't care about love. He was old man, in his 90s. He passed away September, I think, 27, 2017. So what, like a year and a half ago, 2 years, I don't know. And what's mind boggling about that, it's that when Holly left the house in 2008, she didn't write her book till 2014. That was years afterwards. And guess what he did as soon as she left the house? What do all narcissists do once they move on to the new supply? They give the new supply everything that they promised you in hopes to get you angry, right? Because they want to triangulate you more. They know eventually you're going to see them for who they really are. And you can tell looking at his pictures, he has that smirk in his eye, and in his eyes, and his smile, that those evil eyes, you can see that there's nothing there, that there's not a real person there. And she even said, that she tried talking to him about politics or just other stuff, and she said that his mind was not there, that it didn't really interest him, that he was very superficial. And that's what narcissists are, superficial. They never look inside. They don't look inside themselves, and they don't look inside of any of their partners or even their children. They don't love their kids. They don't love anyone. You can't feel bad for the new supply, because as soon as Holly left, he married again. This girl was with him 7, 8 years, and he married the new girlfriend that moved into the house with him. And that was only to trigger Holly. And when I heard her interview, she said, "He will never get any energy out of me, good or bad. And I didn't write this book because I wanted, attention as a ex-girlfriend or bash him, but this was her experience, and I believe her." I think she wanted to show people that the industry, it's not what it seems to be. The industry is controlled by narcissist people. They're right now trying to create, this is what Hugh Hefner, his legacy here was to create more narcissism. And like I said, after Holly left the mansion, the other girlfriend, Kendra, that had left, whose boyfriend